Welcome back, artists. I'm Wyatt Paints, and today I'm running through the nightmares on this video. I'm going to be painting the king of killing from the Rick and Morty universe, Scary Terry. Aw, bitch. So you gotta make sure you don't fall asleep or you're gonna miss me slaying the gray on this one. I'm gonna grab my brushes. Let's get started. I'm starting in the spray booth for the base over black primer. My first color is scarlet red. I was inspired by the original animation, but wasn't ready to lean in completely on the cell shaded look, so I opted for just a heavy inspiration. For that, I knew I needed a deep red base, and this color would give me just that. Now, like most initial coats, most of this will be covered up in future layers, but this base will help set the tone for the overall look. Next up is bloody red. This next step up is to reinforce the vibrancy of the red and make it a bit more pronounced. Whenever you paint red or yellow over black, it tends to have a dulling effect, so it really needs subsequent layers to counteract that. Thankfully, the setting of an underground boiler room allows me to use that dulling effect to my advantage, so the only place I really focused on getting full vibrancy was the center floor. Next, I wanted to add an OSL effect, or object source lighting. While this sounds very technical, it just means making it seem like an object in the model is giving off light. In this case, the boiler in the back. The first step is to put a very light spray of fire orange. Now, if you do this, you'll want to start a bit broad and away from the light source, as this will represent the dimmest light being cast. The second step for this simple OSL is flat yellow. I focused this on the vents I wanted the light to be coming from. This is because the light is brightest at its source. Now in real life, the drop off isn't as abrupt, but in model painting, you get to write the rules of this world and how it exists. So try not to overthink it and just paint it how you want it to be. Just do your best to show some moderation so that you can still see your early bloom layers. Once I was happy with it, I moved on to the brush. First, I wanted to add a bit of copper, since every scary boiler room I can imagine has rough and rusty copper everywhere. This is where that red undercoat is going to pay off. As I put down a rough dry brush, any small specks not painting will look similar to oxidation pitting, so there was no need to get heavy-handed and make sure I got full coverage. For the checkered floor, I grabbed bright bronze. While I wanted it to be tied with the overall copper look, the extra brightness here will add a subtle highlight to the area where Terry will be standing. To paint this, I used the edge highlighting technique to keep the lines thin and consistent. If you do this, make sure you're using the belly of the brush, not the tip. Not only will using the tip of the brush make it a lot harder to maintain a straight line, but it will encourage the brush to release more paint onto the model, possibly running paint over your previous work. Now moving on to his nameplate, it was looking a bit rough, which couldn't really be helped since this was printed in filament. But as a happy accident, the layer lines give a nice CRT refresh line effect that I felt fit. So to help the readability, I grabbed some Warlord purple that I'm going to be using on Terry later and filled in the etched lettering. This is a good example of painting workflow of going inside to out. You want to paint the deepest and hardest to reach areas first, so when you move on to paint your highlighters, you can clean up as you go. For the screen, I employed the aquamarine I mixed a few episodes ago. I had plenty left and it works great here. A few coats and it made the title fairly clear to read. Next was a quick basing of leather brown for the side panels of this TV-styled plaque. Following this, I felt the base could use a bit of weathering, so I dabbed in some sepia shade on the floor, avoiding the edges. Next, I wanted to add some rust buildup around the piping, as I figured a boiler room like this would have a leak here and there. As usual, I followed my go-to rust formula, starting with a judicious placement of brown texture paint, in this case, Sterling Battlemire. I didn't want to overdo this, so I focused this solely on the pipe connectors, as if there are a few worn out washers that are slowly failing, and we're seeing the early signs of this needing repair. Next, I highlighted the oxidation with Riser Rust. For a natural look, it's important to keep this splotchy and mostly within the boundary of where I put the texture paint earlier. A bit of overspill is fine, because it helps camouflage the edge of the brown. But if you use too much, you'll start to overpower everything and it'll look like you painted it orange, rather than it being rust. Finally was this stuff, and you can read it for yourself. I'm not going to twist my tongue trying to say it anymore. Like with the Riser Rust, this should be used sparingly in places you imagine the water would not just get sprayed, but pool over time. Here, I imagine that there's a small crack at the top of this and it would run around the side, just like so. I also added a few drippy spots as well. But again, the key here is not to overdo it. Less is more. And with that, I feel like the base was done. This seems like a great place to thank my subscribers over on Patreon. My Painting Pantheon board members continue to humble me with their generosity. Thank you. If you'd like to join them, you'll find a link to my Patreon in the description below. Or, if you'd like to help this channel for free, you could think about slamming that sub button and the like button. Each one gets me one step closer to the dream of doing this full time. But enough wasting time. Let's get back to Terry. It's finally time to start working on the main body. And starting with his face, I'm going to be using Grimoire Purple, Warlord Purple, and plain old paint. First I took the Grimoire and based the inside of his mouth. Contrary to typical cartoon characters, Terry's mouth is just a darker shade of his skin tone rather than black, which is kind of a nice departure from the norm. But as usual, his teeth were in a way about 80% of the time. Thankfully, there were no important details to paint on the inside, like a tongue or anything. So, while a bit frustrating, it was relatively simple and painless. Next, his skin got a base coat of Warlord Purple to block out the color. I wasn't looking for full coverage just yet, as I was planning on sandwiching in some undercoat highlights. So just a quick once over and I was good to go. Now, unfortunately, my camera didn't record my pink highlights here, and totally not my fault. It wasn't like I didn't hit the record button or anything. Totally blaming the camera on this one. Bad camera. But as you can see here, the pink highlights went on, although they look a little rough. Not to worry though, because like I said, this is an undercoat highlight. The idea behind it is, as I add more layers of Warlord Purple on top of this, it'll become much more subtle, yet still visible. And all that roughness will be blended and normalized to that base purple. This is one of those leap of faith moments in painting where what you're painting will look really bad and then magically look good as you approach the finish line of the effect. See? Next up, I did his hat, shoes, and gloves, using 2 different leather browns. I used the darker one to base coat them all. Now, while I could use different shades for each one of them, typically cartoons will use the same color tone across the entire character for consistency, so I did the same. Plus, it had the added bonus of not having to remember which brown was for which item when it came to touch-ups later. Simplicity is always going to be your friend when painting, so I make sure to use it whenever I can. Additionally, I didn't have to pull a bunch of extra colors from my rack, saving me some table space as well. I then gave the shoes and hat a quick highlight of the second lighter leather brown, focused on the brim of his hat and the large areas that would catch the most light. Next up was his teeth using skeletal bone. This took me a few coats to get full coverage, as there was a bit of overspill of the Warlord purple, and that's kinda hard to completely cover with a taupe like this. Thankfully, Terry didn't have a ton of teeth, so it went by fairly quick. I followed this up with the sepia shade, and re-established the teeth with a thinned down skeletal bone. This gives me a nice smooth transition from the sepia roots to the bright tips of his teeth. For his eyes, dark flesh gave me the muted yellow I was looking for. As with most yellows, this took a few coats to get full coverage. So use this as a reminder whenever you're using yellow, and if you see it covering weakly, resist the urge of slapping on thick coats and trying to get full coverage in one pass. Give it extra time to dry and apply more coats instead. The end result will be much smoother. To really sell the cartoon look, I gave him a black lining of Nuln oil around his eyes, followed by a quick cleanup. While I was not going to do the full cell shading treatment, this little bit does help give it a bit of its cartoon roots without having to fully commit. I finished off the eyes with pure black in the pupils. Again, I needed a little bit of cleanup to correct a bit of overspill, but now he was looking like the Scary Terry we all know and love. For his pants, while they were already gray from the primer, I wanted them to be a slightly lighter ash gray. Now I'm going to keep this section brief, as I can't think of anything more anticlimactic than painting gray on gray. And if you think I'm wrong, you be the judge. Here's 10 seconds of that gray on gray dull torture. Okay, enough with the torture. We're moving on. Now for the green on his shirt, I turned to an all-star on this channel, Scorpiona green. Turns out this green is nearly an exact color match to the green used in the show, so it was a fairly easy choice. Now, I didn't bother trying to be fancy, so I just painted the whole shirt green. The second color is where I'll spend a lot of my time painting clean, because as usual, you want to save time where you can. And this is an area where I can just paint fast and slap the color on, only slowing down when I get towards the edge or a hard to reach area. For the second tone, I used the aquamarine I mixed for the gremlin. As it turns out, it also was a perfect match to the show. I'm really quite glad I mixed so much of this when I did. And having these bottles handy really was a clutch. While I'm starting to see these more in my hobby store, as Army Painter now sells them, they tend to be about 10 to 12 bucks for a pack of 7. But on Amazon, you can get a pack of 50 for about 15 bucks, which should last you years unless you're mixing a ton of colors for each project. And in that case, you're going to save even more money in the long run. Finally, for his finger blades, I blacked them all out and gave them a thin base of gunmetal. As with most metallics, having a black undercoat really helps sell the look, as it adds a ton of contrast next to those reflective particles in the paint. I then finished them off with a quick edge highlight of shining silver. After this, it was time for final assembly, as Scary Terry was all done. Now, I couldn't glue him down as he needed to be shipped out, but even leaning up against the boiler, he looks demented. If you would like to give this model a try, a link to the STL can be found in the description below. Also, please remember to like this video if you liked it. I know it's a bit annoying to be asked, but it really does help the video get visibility in the sea of a million other videos. Finally, I'm starting to clear out my backlog of commissions, so I'm all ears if you have any suggestions of models I should try in the future. Like most 3D print hobbyists, I've bought more STLs than I can ever print, so any suggestions as to what you'd like to see would be a great help. And while I still have a few projects lined up for painting on this channel, I would love to hear what you'd like to see done. As always, thank you for watching, stay creative, and always enjoy the process.